Now Zechariah was ever presiding in the temple of the Lord, and it happened that, even as he was executing his priestly duties in the sight of God, according to his custom and the order of his course, and the manner of his priestly office, it was his lot to enter into the Lord's temple and burn incense at the time of the lighting thereof. Now every time Zechariah would look in on Mary in the temple, he found that she had all of this food with her. So he asked her, "Mary, where does all this food come from?" "All of this food comes from God," she replied. "He gives generously to whomever he pleases." After hearing this, Zechariah secretly called upon his Lord and prayed, "Lord, you hearken to my every prayer. My bones all creak, and my head is aged to a lustrous gray, yet never have I prayed to you in vain. Lord, do not let me leave this world without an heir, but give me righteous children. Now because my wife is barren, I fear that my cousins are in line to replace me. Even so, you are over all who inherit. Give me a son who is favored in your eyes, one who will not only be heir to me, but also to the house of Jacob." And even as he stood praying in the temple, his answer came. An angel of the Lord suddenly appeared to him, standing to the right of the altar of incense. Now Zechariah grew anxious when he saw the angel, and he froze with fear. The angel therefore said to him, "Zechariah, have no fear, but rejoice instead, for your humble prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to name him John, a name that none before him has been called. God is inviting you to celebrate in the birth of John. You are to be joyful and glad, and his appearance will bring rejoicing to many. He will be great in the eyes of God, for he will give his strength to the word of God. He is destined to be honorable and virtuous, a prophet and an honest man who will never partake of wine or strong drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit while yet in his mother's womb. And he will transform many hearts among the children of Israel, that they might turn again to the Lord their God. And the Lord's face will be toward him, as he goes forth in the spirit and power of Elijah, that he might turn the hearts of the fathers toward their sons, and the hearts of the disobedient, that they might live according to the wisdom of the just, to train a people to readiness, that they might be prepared for the Lord." Now Zechariah was taken aback by what had been said, and doubt overtook him, for he had as yet not fathered any children. He did not recall the case of Abraham, who was foremost among the patriarchs, to whom God had given Isaac after having reached the age of 100 years. Nor did he call to mind his wife Sarah, who was just as barren as his own wife was. "Lord," Zechariah inquired, "how can I be sure of this? How am I to father a son, seeing that old age has crept up on me, and also my wife, who is barren?" "This is all the will of God," the angel replied. "He always does as he sees fit. This was how your Lord put it. For me, this is nothing. I brought you into being, and you were nothing before that." "Show me, Lord," Zechariah said. "Give me a sign." "I am Gabriel," the angel replied, "who stands in the presence of God himself. I was sent to speak to you and to give you this wonderful news. Now behold, since you did not believe the words I spoke, though your body will otherwise remain intact, you will be unable to speak with any man except through signs, until the passage of 3 days and nights, the time allotted for these things to happen. Keep your Lord forever in your thoughts, praising him both dusk and dawn." Then the angel vanished from his sight. Meanwhile, the people who had been waiting for Zechariah were wondering why he had been in the temple so long. When he finally came out of it, he was unable to speak, and they could tell that he had seen a vision while in it, and he continued to speak to them in signs. And when his time of service had ended, he returned to his home, and Elizabeth came to learn of this from God. I hearkened to the prayer of Zechariah and gave him John, removing the barrenness of his wife. Together they vied in good works and called on me in all honesty, fear, and submission.